Whether or not you are an avid collector of antiques, or you are a minimalist, or you fall somewhere in between, we are all continuously making decisions about what to buy, what to keep, and what to discard. It seems like we're continuously curating our home decor items in order to get the look that we want. And that changes through the years, sometimes even weeks. As someone who has been purchasing and discarding home decor items for over 40 years, I have a few ideas about this. In this video, I'm going to give you 8 questions that I ask myself now to avoid buyer's remorse and save a lot of money. I'm Ann Clay, and I'm here to help you transform your living space into a true reflection of your heart, where every corner feels like home. Okay, let's start with question number 1. Does this decorating item fit into your decor? Now, there are many considerations for this. For instance, does it fit into the time period that you are decorating in? I have narrowed down my time period to a late 1700s, early 1800s time period. Therefore, if I see something that is, say, Art Deco, and I love it, I do not buy it because I know it's not going to fit into my home decor picture. This gets a little more complicated if you have a more eclectic individual style. In that case, you have to look at it and say, do I love it? Does it fit the color schemes? Do I know that I'm going to use this in my decor? Will it work with all my other pieces? To me, this is the first most important question, because a lot of times we buy things on impulse. We say, wow, I love this. It has to come home with me. But when it comes home, there's no place to put it. So this is the first key question. My second question that I ask myself now, which is the question that I really hate to ask myself because it seems like a buzzkill, but does it fit into my budget? Do I have the money to buy this? Am I going into credit card debt to have it? Could that money be better served in something else? Is there something I'm not going to be able to buy that I need because I'm choosing to buy this impulse purchase? That's something nobody really likes to deal with unless they're just like a really great accountant person. Someone like me who's an artist and more impulsive does not ever want to even think about that. I feel like I will just work it out. But here's what I found out. A lot of what I've purchased, I was not able to sell again. Yep, there was nothing wrong with it. It was perfectly good, but people were not willing to pay the price that I paid for it. The reason being is I was probably impulsive. I was not as deliberate. I did not ask myself these 8 questions before I purchased the item. And a lot of my items ended up on the side of my curb being given away for free. Yeah, it's a terrible thing. But in that way, I wasn't able to afford it because I might have spent $500 for a sofa that I decided within a year or two was not going to really fit what I needed. And because I couldn't sell it again for the price that I bought it for, I either had to take a great loss or I had to give it away. So this is something you really need to look at, because you think, if I purchase this for this price, let's say I want a bowl for $150. Do I need that $150 for something else? Am I going to be happy with this bowl even if I have to give it away and I spent $150 for it? These are the questions that you really have to consider. Number 3, do I already have one? Is this something I really need? This is a good question to ask, because if you already have 5 bowls, do you need another one? Maybe if you're collecting and you have a spot for it and you put them all, say, in a dry sink, you might need that extra bowl to fill it up. But what if you have plenty of bowls, you don't have a collection? Do you really need another one of those items? I have this problem with bowls and trenchers and things that I put on tables. There are only so many tables in my house. I do not have room for all the bowls and trenchers that I want to put in my house. In addition, sometimes I want to put a vase of flowers on my table. Then what do I do with that bowl? Do you see where I'm getting at here? Sometimes we have too much of something and then we don't have a place to store the excess. And if you don't have a place to store the excess, then you might not really need that extra bowl. Just something to think about. Number 4 goes along with number 3. Do I have a place to put this item? So if you're collecting bowls and you have a spot to put the item, put it in the dry sink with all the other bowls. However, some of us may already have our dry sink full of bowls and don't need another bowl in there and don't have a place to put that item. This is something that I have learned that's really helped me is the container method, where you have, say, a cupboard and the certain collection is going to go in the cupboard. Now, if that cupboard is full, you either have to purchase that item and replace something else you have in there, which means you have to like this one better than what you have in that cupboard, or you're going to now end up with something excessive and you're going to need to put it in a home. For instance, I also have baskets, and I have 2 shelves, decided to put a basket collection on there. I have a lot of empty space. Now, I actually like the empty space. I like the minimal look of the baskets. However, if I decided I wanted to continue to collect baskets, I would have space for those baskets. If I purchased a basket I didn't like that much and put it in that space, now I would no longer have the space for that basket, which would mean I'd have to replace it, which would also mean I'd have to be able to sell it for the price I got it for, or be able to give it away and be okay with that to replace it. Now, some of us are doing that all the time. We're curating, we're shuffling, we're doing all these things to make our home beautiful and keep our home fresh. And if that's one thing that is important to you, then it's really good to do it. But I always think it's really important to ask that question, do I have a place for this before I pull it in? Number 5, every yes is a no, every no is a yes. This kind of goes along with all the other questions, but if you say yes to this item, what item are you going to say no to along the way? Purchase. You say yes to where this goes, you're saying no to putting something else there. Every yes is a no. And every no could be a yes. So if you say no to this item, something better might come along in the future that you will now have the money for and the space for. Which goes along with my very next point. Is this a consolation prize? This is something we all find ourselves falling into when we are looking for a bargain. And you go to your local thrift store and you find this plate set that you really, really love. And it's so cheap. And you're like, I know I could use this. And you take it home. All right. So now it's a bargain. But are you really going to use it? Do you really have a space for it? Is it really what you wanted in the first place? Because if you just spent $75 on something you didn't really want in the first place, you have not put yourself ahead in your home decor. What you have done is you've started to spin your wheels. It's like spinning your wheels inside snow when you're driving. Your wheels are spinning, but you're getting nowhere. A lot of times when we're out collecting and thrifting, we could be spinning our wheels and getting nowhere because what we're looking at is not going to serve us in our home. And this is, to me, one of the most important questions. Is it something I really, 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 really wanted? Is this the exact thing I wanted? I have a thing for tavern tables. I fall in love with tavern tables. I pick them up, I take them home. But every tavern table that I've purchased was something that I really responded to. And this is a hard thing when it comes to early American antiques because so many things were made by hand. Many things are one of a kind. And people like you and I who love old things are going to fall in love with a lot of old things. So we really have to evaluate, is this the old thing that's going to stand the test of time? Is this the old thing that I'm going to love 20 years from now? Or is this an old thing that I really wanted a table, I needed a table, this one was a decent price, this is right in front of me, it's good enough, I'll get it. It's really important to evaluate those purchases. Number 7, am I buying this because I think I need one? This is a very interesting question to ask yourself because we look at so many people's homes and we look at those homes for inspiration and we'll see a room and it'll be so beautifully done and we'll notice one item in that room and think, if I had that item, my room would look like that. But that's not really true. We know that because the colors might be different, or the style of the room might be different, or the door window arrangement might be different, the flooring might be different, the feel of the room might be different. All the other things that you're putting together with this item are going to be different than the room that you are wanting to emulate. So unless you can emulate something a lot more intentionally, that one-off item isn't going to work. Now, if you see a room and you fall in love with it and you have a very similar floor plan, you have some similar characteristics in the windows and the doors, then you can get an item that someone else has and try to emulate the look because you have more to work with. But oftentimes we'll be out and we'll think, I wanted a spinning wheel for that corner. And maybe you wanted a big walking spinning wheel. And then you go to the store and you find a small flex spinning wheel. And you think, well, I haven't been able to find a walking spinning wheel for the last 2 months. And I've always wanted a spinning wheel like for the last 6 months. And now I see this spinning wheel that might be a little more than I wanted to spend, but I'm not sure that I'm going to find the big spinning wheel because maybe they're harder to find. So I'll just get this spinning wheel and this will be my consolation prize. And those consolation prizes usually always end up out the door. Okay, my final question is, will this item serve me? Now, to ask that question or to answer that question, you have to go back to the 7 questions that I had before. And if at the end of those questions, I get to a total go ahead, then I can kind of decide that this item is going to serve me. Let me give you 2 examples of things that I recently purchased. Now, in order to tell you about this, I have to let you know that this year I was going to go on a no-buy home decor. This is a hard thing for me. I've been buying home decor now for quite a while, just so that I can keep things fresh for my channel. In addition, because I have a home decorating business, I buy things now and then from there to check the quality of the purchases, to check the items, and to put them in my house, because ultimately I am designing things that I think would look really great in my house and will look really great in yours. So I decided to leave that off the no buy, but I did decide I was going to do a no buy for all of those home decor antique items, because frankly, if you've seen my house in all these videos, I have enough. I don't need any more. I've chosen a more minimalist decorating style. I really only need one of each kind of thing. And considering the spending spree that I've gone on all these years, I decided it was time to quit and just scale things down. So, 2 items I bought. The first thing that I bought was a pewter set. Now, I had a lot of pewter to start with. I just kid you not. But this pewter set was only $160. It was a set of 8, and it had the bowls and the luncheon plates and the bread dishes and the platters and the regular plates, and it had some really cool tankards that looked like bugles, and it had a whole bunch of extra stuff with it. And it was on Facebook Marketplace, and the man would meet me at my grocery store, which is right around the corner from my house. So the whole thing took no money to do. I didn't have to rent a truck. I didn't have to drive a half day to go pick up an item. And $160 I felt was a really good price. So let's go through the list. Did it fit my decorating style? Yes, I decorate with pewter in my dining room. Number 2. Does it fit into my budget? Yes, $160 fit into my budget. It didn't take any extra time or any extra energy to get it. Number 3, do I need another one? Well, that question was a little iffy because did I need another one? No, I didn't need any more pewter. However, this was a full set that I could now serve food on for my guests. It was a newer set. It was something that it was safe to eat on. So it actually did fit my needs. Number 4, if every yes is a no, what are you saying no to? Well, with this one, I'm saying no to future pewter purposes. With the decision to do this, I'm saying no to a collection of very old vintage antique pewter. I'm saying I am okay with having knockoff imitation pewter. I'm okay with that. Next question, where am I going to put this and do I have room for it? Yes, I have a cabinet that I put pewter in, and I'm going to be able to put this pewter in there and I have room for it and it's going to look great. Next question, will I love it in the long run? Is it a consolation prize? No, it's not a consolation prize because I've always wanted pewter to eat on. And it's not a consolation prize because I don't want anything else. I'm perfectly happy with it and it's gonna live in my home for a long time. Am I buying this because I've seen other homes with it? No, actually I've seen a lot of homes with antique pewter, and while I really appreciate and love it, I would rather have pewter that I can place set on my table, especially because I'm a person that likes dishes. So for me, setting a really beautiful table at a holiday is important, and that's my value. So, final question, does this item serve me? Yes, it checked all the boxes and it serves me very well. Let's go into the Lana Testa cupboard that I purchased from Lainey the other day. 1, does this fit into my decorating style? Hands down, it's early American, it's unique, it totally fits into my decorating style, and even is the right color. 2, does it fit into my budget? It was a price that I felt that I could pay for that item. So does it fit into my budget? Might be a little bit, but I was earning money and decided that some of the earnings from my day of sales could go to that. Do I need another one if I already have one? Well, I didn't have one, so I needed one. If every yes is a no, what do I say no to? Well, I would say no to another cabinet over my toilet, but this is the coolest cabinet I've ever seen, so I don't mind that. Where am I going to put this? I'm going to put this over my toilet. And what am I going to put in it? I have makeup that I'm putting in it. I have toilet paper that I'm putting in it. I have some toiletries that I'm putting into it. Do I have another place to put those items? Yes, I've been storing those items in my linen closet, and they've been falling out when the towels fall out and then everything else falls out. And that is an organizational issue that I have to deal with. But I felt that it would better serve me to have small items in a smaller cupboard. So this actually took care of a lot of organizational problems as well as decor issues. Am I buying this because I've just seen it in another house and want to emulate it? No, I just liked it. How will this item serve me? It's going to serve me very well in the long run. It's not a consolation prize, and it ticked all the boxes, and therefore it is a purchase that I don't regret. I don't know about you, but I've made some really bad home purchases that I have regretted. Yep. And right now, I would love you to stop this video and tell me below what home purchases you've made that you regret.